the sky ripped open like paper, and from the rift spilled a nightmarish legion led by alien Spider-Man, his eyes glowing red, claws sharper than any weapon known to Earth. Thanos' monstrous army surged, their roar shaking cities as Superman, Iron Man, and Batman braced for the unthinkable, an apocalypse with no mercy. Each hero faced a moment where hope seemed lost. Steel bent, fists shattered, and webs of alien terror snared the innocent in seconds. Betrayals, mind games, and impossible odds forced them to confront the darkest corners of their own strength and courage. And in the heart of chaos, one shocking twist would change the battlefield forever, revealing a secret no one saw coming. The rift breaks. The city's skyline shimmered under a golden sunset, unaware that its calm was about to be torn apart. A deafening crack split the clouds as the air itself seemed to scream. From a jagged rift in the sky fell a figure that no one could believe, a twisted, alien version of Spider-Man, his black and red armor pulsing with an otherworldly energy. His eyes burned crimson, and in his hands, claws sharper than swords sliced through steel beams, as if they were paper. Behind him, a monstrous legion emerged, hulking forms that combined Thanos' most fearsome creations with alien brutality. On the streets below, civilians screamed and ran, cars overturning as if caught in a supernatural storm. Superman descended from the clouds, his eyes glowing with heat vision, scanning the battlefield for the first strike. Iron Man rocketed above the city, repulsors humming with lethal intensity, ready to intercept. Batman stood in the shadows atop a shattered skyscraper, eyes scanning through night vision, computing every possible outcome in milliseconds. Alien Spider-Man struck first, swinging through the air like a predator. His webbing wasn't ordinary. It seared flesh and metal alike, snaring drones and vehicles in molten strands. He landed in the center of Times Square, and the Legion followed, giant monsters with pulsating armor, some the size of buildings, some creeping like shadows, with too many eyes. The air was electric with fear. Superman roared and shot into the fray, fist-smashing monsters with bone-crushing force, but even he felt the sting of alien Spider-Man's claws. Sparks flew, concrete cracked, and civilians watched their protectors struggle in disbelief. Iron Man fired repulsors, missiles, and plasma cannons, each explosion shaking the streets like thunder. Batman's gadgets tore through the darkness, strategically dismantling smaller alien soldiers. But the sheer scale of the army made every second a fight for survival. Then came the moment that made every hero's heart freeze. Alien Spider-Man leaped high into the air, twisting through impossible angles, and dropped a device that pulsed like a dying star. The ground shook violently, glass exploded outward, and a wave of energy surged through the city. It wasn't just destruction, it was a declaration. This was no ordinary invasion. This was a hunt, and Earth's mightiest heroes were the prey. Superman grabbed civilians and hurled them to safety, his jaw clenched. Iron Man barked into his suit comlink. "We need a plan. We're not facing a single enemy. This is a full-scale annihilation." Batman's voice was calm but deadly. "Adapt or die. Every move counts. Track Spider-Man first. He's the kingpin here." But even as they coordinated, the Legion kept advancing, their monstrous forms morphing, absorbing attacks, growing stronger with each blow. Alien Spider-Man landed atop a crumbling building, staring down the trio with a terrifying grin. His voice, distorted and metallic, echoed over the chaos. "Your planet is weak. Your heroes are obsolete. Bow or burn." And with that, the city shook again as more portals ripped open above, raining more monsters from the skies, each one more terrifying than the last. The first clash was brutal. Superman's heat vision cut through armored giants, Iron Man's missiles obliterated entire squads, and Batman's martial genius tore through the alien ranks. Yet, every step forward felt like 2 steps back. Alien Spider-Man moved with impossible agility, dodging strikes, weaving chaos wherever he went. The heroes realized this wasn't just a battle for the city. This was the opening salvo in a war that could end life as they knew it. As Part 1 closed, a new terror emerged. From the heart of the rift, a colossal shadow unfurled its wings, Thanos' most monstrous creation yet. Its roar was deafening, shaking the ground like an earthquake. The heroes froze for a split second, the weight of what they were about to face sinking in. This wasn't just invasion, it was extinction. And the game had only just begun. Rise of the Monster Legion. The shadow over the city was colossal, wings spanning skyscrapers, claws scraping streets, eyes glowing with cruel intelligence. Thanos' ultimate creation had landed, a titan of muscle, armor, and alien tech fused into one unstoppable predator. Even Superman, hovering with his fists glowing, felt a pulse of fear in his chest. Iron Man circled high above, targeting weak points, but every missile that struck only seemed to anger the beast, making it faster, smarter, deadlier. Batman's gadgets whirred, scanning the creature, calculating trajectories, predicting strikes. But he knew instinctively, this wasn't a fight you could plan for. Alien Spider-Man darted between buildings, his limbs slicing steel and stone. His webbing wasn't just sticky, it burned, cut, and immobilized anything it touched. Civilians were trapped in glowing, suffocating strands. Even the city's fire hydrants erupted in sparks when the webs shredded metal pipes. "Move or die," the alien Spider-Man hissed, mocking the heroes as he swung with lethal precision. Superman launched himself at the creature's shadowy ally, fists swinging like meteors. Each strike sent ripples across the streets below, shattering asphalt and creating shockwaves that threw civilians off their feet. The monster retaliated with a tail whip that smashed through a row of buildings, sending Iron Man spinning through the air. Sparks rained from his battered suit as he steadied, grimacing. These guys aren't normal, they're evolving. Batman dropped into the chaos from above, gadgets in hand. Explosives, EMPs, grappling hooks, all were deployed in rapid succession. He struck with surgical precision, taking down alien drones that burrowed and surged from the ground like venomous snakes. But the numbers overwhelmed him. The streets were alive with the Legion, pulsating, shifting, merging, an alien hive mind bent on destruction. And then came the twist that sent chills down every spine. Alien Spider-Man, perched atop a collapsing bridge, held a device that pulsed with dark energy. He slammed it to the ground. The rift above widened, and from it poured creatures no one had seen before. Monstrous hybrids of machine and flesh, some with hundreds of limbs, some with armored hides impervious to heat vision. The Legion had become something greater, terrifyingly smarter. Superman's eyes widened. This isn't just an invasion, it's evolution on our streets. Iron Man fired relentlessly, missiles streaking across the sky, repulsors blazing. His HUD lit up with warning after warning. The creatures were learning from every strike, dodging attacks before they hit. Batman's calculated strikes slowed them, but not for long. Each monster taken down was replaced by 3 more, emerging from the rift like a living tide of doom. Alien Spider-Man moved with inhuman speed, leaping across rooftops, landing behind Iron Man too slow. He spat, claws tearing into the armor. Explosions rocked the air as the heroes struggled to defend themselves, their coordination tested like never before. Batman's grappling line snapped as a monstrous drone surged past him, nearly clipping Superman mid-flight. Every second brought new horrors, new enemies, new chaos. Then, amid the chaos, a shocking revelation. One of the monsters spoke. Its voice was deep, metallic, and dripping with malice. "Earth's defenders, weak, obsolete." Alien Spider-Man nodded, the first trace of sinister intelligence behind the monstrous laughter. This wasn't mindless destruction, it was a strategic strike. Every creature, every attack, was coordinated to break morale, to terrorize, to dominate. The heroes regrouped atop the ruins of a skyscraper, catching their breath amid the destruction. Superman's eyes scanned the battlefield, crumbling streets, burning vehicles, civilians pinned under debris. Iron Man's suit was scorched and dented, systems failing faster than he could repair. Batman, calm as ever, analyzed patterns in the Legion's movements. They're learning. Every strike we make, they adapt. If we don't change tactics, the city dies. And just when they thought they could find a strategy, the device Alien Spider-Man had dropped emitted a pulse. The ground itself split open, swallowing streets and cars into black voids, dragging the hero's attention to multiple threats at once. He's rewriting the battlefield. Superman growled, jaw tight. We're not just fighting monsters, we're fighting the map itself. The Legion surged forward, more massive and cunning than ever. Alien Spider-Man swung down, claws gleaming, and landed between the heroes with a terrifying grin. "Welcome to the endgame," he hissed. "Fight or fall." The city's screams mixed with the growls and roars of the monster army. Concrete crumbled, metal twisted, and the air burned with energy pulses. Part 2 closed with a cliffhanger. The largest of the Monster Legion, wings black as night and armor impossibly strong, rose above the battlefield, spreading terror across the streets. Even the heroes, mighty and legendary, felt the first seeds of doubt. Could they survive this? Could they even win? Streets of fire. The city had become unrecognizable, a jagged skeleton of twisted metal and smoldering concrete. Fires raged across streets where alien claws had torn the asphalt apart, and smoke curled into a sky still shattered by rifts. The monstrous legion, now coordinated like a single hive mind, prowled the ruins with terrifying precision. Alien Spider-Man crouched atop a skyscraper, crimson eyes scanning the chaos, claws glinting like liquid steel. His grin was wide, predatory, and unmistakably cruel. "Earth will kneel," he hissed. "Or burn." Superman dove headfirst into the fray, fists glowing with heat vision, tearing apart hulking aliens that surged from the streets. Each strike sent waves of energy across the city, toppling debris and forcing terrified civilians to dive for cover. But even he realized that for every monster destroyed, 2 more rose from the rift, their eyes glowing with sinister intelligence. This was no ordinary invasion. The Legion had learned how to fight back. Iron Man rocketed through the chaos, missiles streaking through the air. His HUD blinked red, multiple targets converging at lethal speed. A monster lunged from a crumbling building, its claws slicing the air with deadly precision. Iron Man barely dodged, firing repulsors that exploded against the creature's armored hide. Sparks rained down, setting fires across nearby rooftops, but the monster simply adapted, moving faster, calculating every strike. "These things, they're not just strong, they're smart," he shouted, dodging another deadly swipe. Batman moved like a shadow among the chaos, striking with surgical precision. Explosives detonated around him. EMPs disabled drones mid-air, and grappling lines flung debris at the creatures. He noticed patterns in the Legion's movements: coordination, strategy, adaptation. "They're evolving faster than we can respond," he muttered, eyes narrowing behind his cowl. "We can't just fight, we have to outsmart them." Alien Spider-Man wasn't content to let them plan. With a powerful leap, he landed in the middle of the 3 heroes, his claws slicing a massive chunk of concrete from a nearby building. "You can't save them all," he mocked, gesturing toward the fleeing civilians trapped in webbing that burned and seared. His device pulsed in his hand, creating gravitational distortions that lifted cars and steel beams into the air like toys. Even Superman struggled against the invisible force, muscles straining as he pushed debris away from panicked civilians. The ground shook violently as the largest monster of the Legion rose from the rift, wings spreading wide, casting an enormous shadow across the city. Its roar was deafening, shaking windows and rattling nerves. Alien Spider-Man leapt onto its back with horrifying ease, merging his attacks with the Titan's brute force. Together, they became unstoppable, a living nightmare raining terror down on the heroes below. Iron Man fired relentlessly, tracking weak points in the monster's armor while Superman tried to distract it, smashing through streets to slow its advance. Batman calculated trajectories with deadly accuracy, hitting vital joints and deploying traps. But the monster adapted immediately, shrugging off damage that should have been fatal. Alien Spider-Man's laughter echoed across the city, blending with the roar of destruction. Every move the heroes made was anticipated, countered, and exploited. Then came the moment that turned the tide, or threatened to break it completely. Alien Spider-Man slammed his claws into the ground, activating a massive pulse that ripped through the streets, shattering concrete, snapping power lines, and hurling civilians into the air. The device emitted a low hum, black energy spiraling like a storm. Superman gritted his teeth, fighting against the gravitational pull, as Iron Man's suit alarm screamed warnings. Batman realized the device wasn't just a weapon. It was reshaping the battlefield itself, forcing the heroes to fight under impossible conditions. In the chaos, One civilian child screamed for help, trapped under debris. Without thinking, Superman dove, Iron Man followed, Batman swung in with grappling lines, showing that even in the face of impossible odds, heroes never abandoned the innocent. The Legion paused, briefly startled by the unity of the three, but alien Spider-Man's smirk only widened. "Heroism is useless when the world itself betrays you," he said. The scene ended with the heroes battered, bruised, and bloodied, standing amid ruins as the largest monster towered above them. Alien Spider-Man perched atop its back, claws dripping with the remnants of destroyed drones. The rift above pulsed ominously, signaling that the next wave of horror was already descending. The city held its breath, teetering on the edge of annihilation. The true battle was just beginning, and the heroes realized one terrifying fact. This enemy wouldn't just kill. They would transform the Earth into a nightmare from which there was no escape. Counter-Strike of Legends. The city trembled beneath the monstrous shadows, fires burning hotter than the sun, and smoke twisting into dark, suffocating spirals. Alien Spider-Man perched atop the colossal titan, claws digging into its armored back, a predator grinning over the ruined streets below. The rift above pulsed like a heartbeat of doom, spilling more monsters into the chaos. Every step the heroes took felt like treading on a battlefield designed to crush them. Superman's fists glowed with concentrated heat vision as he smashed through a wave of monstrous drones, each impact sending shockwaves that rippled through collapsing streets. But no matter how many he destroyed, more surged from the rift, smarter, faster, and deadlier. "We need a plan," he growled, eyes locking with Iron Man as a massive claw swung down, narrowly missing him. Iron Man rocketed forward, repulsors blazing, firing missiles in rapid succession. His HUD flickered warnings, systems overloading from the sheer power of the alien swarm. "This isn't just brute force," he shouted. "They're learning, adapting, predicting our every move." Batman dropped into the chaos silently, surveying the battlefield with his calculating gaze. "Then we fight smarter. We turn their own strategy against them." The three heroes regrouped atop a collapsed skyscraper. Superman's heat vision carved paths through advancing monsters. Iron Man's missiles disrupted their formations, and Batman laid precise traps in the shadows. "We hit the rift," Batman said, voice calm but deadly. "Destroy the source, and the Legion collapses." Alien Spider-Man noticed their movement and leapt down, claws flashing like lightning. "Too slow," he hissed, slashing a hulking monster that had pinned civilians beneath rubble. His device pulsed violently, sending a gravitational wave that lifted cars and debris into the air. Even Superman struggled to maintain control against the sudden pull. But the heroes were ready. Superman grabbed a falling vehicle and hurled it at the device. Iron Man fired precision missiles to destabilize it, and Batman detonated an EMP that disrupted the rift's energy flow. The combined assault caused the pulse to falter, momentarily destabilizing Alien Spider-Man's control. The Titan monster faltered, swiping in frustration as Alien Spider-Man hissed, "Clever, but not enough." The battlefield erupted into chaos. Alien Spider-Man swung between heroes, claws tearing through steel and concrete alike, while the Legion adapted to every strike. Civilians screamed, running across the shattered streets as fires consumed buildings. But the heroes pressed on, pushing themselves beyond exhaustion, their every move synchronized with deadly precision. Superman smashed the largest monster's leg, Iron Man targeted weak points in its armor, and Batman struck vital joints with surgical accuracy. Then came the shocking twist. Alien Spider-Man activated a hidden function in his device. The rift expanded violently, and a new wave of monsters poured out, bigger, faster, with claws like razors and eyes glowing with pure malice. Even the heroes faltered for a split second. But in that moment, Batman whispered, "This is it. Focus everything we've got on the source." Superman charged, breaking through waves of smaller monsters. Iron Man fired concentrated blasts, and Batman deployed traps to slow the advancing horde. Alien Spider-Man screeched, claws digging into the ground, trying to stabilize the rift. But the combined assault was overwhelming. Cracks formed in the device, energy sparks flying wildly as the Titan monster roared in fury. Part 4 ended with the rift beginning to collapse, monsters screaming as they were pulled back into the void, and Alien Spider-Man glaring at the heroes with pure hatred. "This isn't over," he hissed, before disappearing in a flash of red energy, leaving the heroes standing amid smoldering ruins, battered but unbroken. The battle had turned, but the war was far from over. Endgame of Earth. The city lay in ruins, streets shattered, fires burning hotter than ever, and smoke twisting into dark, suffocating clouds. Alien Spider-Man's red eyes glowed from the shadows, perched atop the colossal titan, claws dripping with the remnants of destruction. The rift above flickered ominously, the pulse of evil still threatening to tear the world apart. Every moment counted. Every second was a fight for survival. Superman launched into the air, eyes blazing with heat vision. "We end this now," he roared, smashing through waves of monstrous drones that surged from the rift. Each impact sent shock waves across the city, crumbling buildings and scattering debris. Iron Man rocketed beside him, firing repulsors and precision missiles, his suit battered but relentless. "Time to close the chapter on your nightmare," he shouted, targeting Alien Spider-Man's device. Batman dropped silently among the chaos, gadgets whirring, explosives and EMPs in hand. "Focus on the rift," he ordered, calculating every strike. "Take the source down, and the Legion collapses." The three heroes moved as one, a synchronized strike against the heart of terror. Alien Spider-Man hissed, slashing his claws at Superman and Iron Man, sending sparks and shards flying through the air. His device pulsed violently, ripping cars and debris into the air like toys. But the heroes pushed forward. Heat vision clashed with clawed armor, missiles tore through drones, and Batman's traps slowed the advancing horde. The rift flickered, destabilized by their combined assault. The Titan monster shrieked in fury, wings flaring, trying to shield Alien Spider-Man. But Superman's fist smashed through its legs, Iron Man blasted its armored joints, and Batman struck with surgical precision. The combined assault fractured the Titan's armor, sending it crashing to the streets in a deafening explosion. Alien Spider-Man screeched, realizing his army was collapsing. "Impossible," he hissed, claws trembling as the rift destabilized further. Superman surged forward, heat vision slicing through the device, while Iron Man fired concentrated blasts that shattered the alien energy core. Batman detonated an EMP directly at the rift, sending a shockwave that pulled the remaining monsters back into the void. The rift collapsed with a deafening roar, sucking in the last of the Legion, and leaving Alien Spider-Man dangling atop rubble, his eyes wide with rage. Superman landed beside him, fists glowing. Iron Man hovered, weapons ready, and Batman's piercing gaze cut through the smoke. The villain snarled, realizing defeat was inevitable. "This isn't over," he spat, before a final pulse of energy hurled him into a distant, unknown corner of the city. The hero stood amid the ruins, battered and bloodied, yet victorious. Fire still burned, civilians slowly emerged from hiding, and the city's pulse began to return. Superman clenched his fists, surveying the destruction. "We stopped them for now." Iron Man nodded, scanning for residual threats. Batman's eyes never left the shadows, calculating, planning, prepared. Even in victory, the heroes knew the war was far from over. Alien Spider-Man's escape was a warning, a promise that the next battle would be deadlier, more cunning, and more terrifying. But for this moment, Earth had survived, and legends had risen from the ashes of chaos. The sun broke through the smoke, casting a golden glow over the ruined city, as the heroes stood together, scarred, exhausted, but unbroken. The final battle was over, but the war against darkness had only just begun.